Hey there, everyone. I am Joy with Joy to the World, here to take an intuitive peek into the energies going on around you. Now, what energies are these? They are talking about the pure, perfect love. And if, as many of you know, we're in the second month, and irregardless when you show up, this message is for you if you found your way to it. But people think of twos as love, the meaningful love. Well, it's many loves, it's all the facets, but it's having to do with the great relationship, the divine relationship, the Ouroboros of connecting to yourself. You are where you come from. Not from your parents, not from Alabama, not from Zimbabwe, not from Australia. You come from the place beyond. So that Ouroboros is here to connect you with yourself so that you step into the divine love relationship here of friendship, of partnership and business, of lover, of family dynamics, those type of things. And that's why they're wanting to work on it. The scope is so much bigger. But it's talking about leaving that grouchy old underworld behind, the scrutinous eye. And they're talking about the eyes, the I-N, the Hebrew letter, which is actually a word because it has so many concepts and principles in which to speak. So we can see it showing up here. This has already been righted. It was like this. I don't keep my decks inverted, and it started coming up right. Now they're here to want to set the story straight. Big Papa's here. The mother that prays is here. The cosmic egg is already dawning. Now some call it, dawning of the age of Aquarius, but that's not really it. Y'all, let me tell you, we're the whole zodiac, and they're a little particular. They're like, we are plasma. This is plasmatic energy. It's like the moment we left the womb and left the amniotic fluid, we were subject to just air, part of the story. And water is here to rectify that situation. So the plasma's coming down, a little background. Plasma's coming down so that we have the air and the water. That's how we speak. The vocal cords need to be wet and have the breath move across it in order to speak. And speaking is how we create. We come from creation. We are creators, thus the cosmic egg and this eruption that's going on here. So don't be fooled. A lot of places are talking about the volatility of February and volcanoes, and this is going to explode. It's going to be explosive. But it's going to be restorative. And the thing is if we just vent and take a little bit at a time, meaning make the moments to take this in, the scope of love, more than just oneself, but what they're saying is it's bigger than people. It has to do with principles. It has to do with personality, those type of things. What we hold dear to our heart, the meaning, the why that begins to merge and bring it all together. And this is where we are in the earth and scope. Yes, divine relationship. And you know what? Whatever shade of delicious skin you are, insert it in here. Okay, because we're cosmic, right? But that's the magic coming on in, bringing it up to dreamland. Because remember, the jaguar was showing, who is that? Jaguar? The jaguar, a little bit Pooh Bear here, was showing it submerged, like this suppression and oppression and depression, all these shuns going on that were not of this essence that we're talking about. So we're being called up from the depths, from the depths. It is time for resurrection. How do I know? The beloved is here, entering the upper world. So many of these fundamental cards are coming in what would be called upside down, even though I don't operate that way. They're incoming energies here, the beloved and the upper world. And it's bringing in the heart of the moment. It's landing us in the now. Now, if you show up here calendarically, this process has been happening since about the last 10 degrees of Capricorn, or the last 10 days of Capricorn season. So since around like January 12th, 15th, something like that. And it's landing right around the 1st, 2nd, 3rd of March. All right, that's actually lets you know how big the ship is. Like when a plane lands or takes off, it needs the space to fully come to a stop, right? And so that's already pre-planned. That's the mother here praying. And it's talking about on the mountain, the mountain of deliverance. Deliverance from what? Old paths, old pathways, karmic resolution. Jupiter and Saturn got together in this divine creation to be like, they're not, I can't even come up with the word. It's to create something that doesn't yet exist. And they're very excited about it. So that's why they're like, shun away the fear of creation, the fear of the unknown. Unknown means unscripted. It also means no mistake because it's original. And who's original? You are. So if you haven't already, you can check out the video about Love Never Fails. It is a silent movie about your life. And that's the Shakti incoming energy, the golden self coming from the center of the earth, from the blue diamond pathway. Woo! Oh, you got help. You got help. You got hands coming in to help here. For some of you, you need demonstration. I don't know what y'all asking me for that. I don't know. We'll set that aside on the table for a minute. But you do have physical confirmation coming about. And as you know, if you're here before or if you're new to this channel, the words that I say are not the value. When you take time to reflect on what you heard, you're going to find resonance and confirmation with your spirit, your journey, your mind, your body of what you've already been walking. I am not a fortune teller or a future teller here. I am a joy to the world. What? For your joy, my joy, and the world's joy. So I just give you the environment that's going on cosmically so that you know what to plant in it or what kind of season energetically it is. That's it. I'm scripting in the truth, not the opinion or the old days, because we were in an earthen era for about 400 years. And so those definitions don't apply anymore. Like the way we move over land and the tools with which we do that is so different than the way we move across water, right? Or the way we move through air. So can you see how the planetary adjustments are being made? The energies. So all old definitions and lenses are out. They're to boot. The lens that they want to come, oh, I love it. The choice, the power of choice, of I aming. The lens that they're wanting to institute here is the ancient lens, like the divine self, the cosmic lighthouse, lightning force, which would make sense. Lightning card is sitting here bringing in the beautiful way, and the beautiful way, if you go back and you read the bio of the channel, is about you, your bold, bright, beautiful life, you in your you-ness. That's why it's called I amness, or your uniqueness. You're the only you. All right. And that's beautiful and divine. That's why we tell you to get in the center of yourself. Being self-centered is healthy. Selfish, different story. Selfless, different story. Just like humility isn't like this or like this. Humility is really knowing who you are and what you're here for. That's it. You're here to add meaning to life. That's it. To color our world with love. And that's what's been going on over here, because there was some major heartbreak, earth-shattering stuff. Now remember, this was a reading that was laid out for me, and they said, this is universal. We need you to turn on the camera. So we're going to put a couple of cards on this to bring you in to where we're at. But this is just the background. This is the ship that we were talking about here. But major disappointment early on in life. Feeling like home is empty and devoid of the humanity. Because y'all, humanity isn't just that we eat, sleep, and poop, y'all. It's really about the kindness, the love, the allowing everybody their own space to be who they are without condemning them or poking fun at them. You know, it's that type of thing. And we find out that, whoa, this life on earth is not what we thought it was. It's shattered. It's empty. It's null. It's void. So then that brings you into this spinning of the wheel, or this spiraling, when we fall and we hit our head because we created ourselves. We land here, and at some point we forget who we are, or we become disillusioned. And Big Papa Saturn is here to talk a little bit about that. And that's where our mind begins to spin. But they say if you will slow down and tune in to the shutter, the lens of the mind, by closing your eyes and just beginning to feel the energy around you, connecting with your breath. Let's do that right now. Inhale in with me. Exhale out the mouth. Landing that ship one more time if you feel up to it, okay? In through your nose. Up through here. Exhale through the mouth. All right. That way we can slow down so y'all can catch up. If you knew how fast they were moving at the speed of delight. So that's when you get swallowed up. The spinning of the wheel, going in the wrong way, you know, maybe in sorrows or grief or blame or gluttony or whatever, whether it's self-inflicted or environment inflicted, it doesn't matter. They're talking about write the check to make the gateway open up. Because in the long time ago, in very established lands that had been around for a very long period of time, when one would traverse through that land to get to somewhere else, if you were in the kingdom, you needed some paperwork saying, permit the person to pass through here. Here is my signature, that kind of a check. It gives you the safety, coverage, and protection, which is the red magic, but it also gives you the white magic, like the hopes, dreams, and fears, saying, okay, give them the supplies that they need as they pass through in order to inhabit the land and remain at peace. Peacemaking. Okay. So that doesn't mean normalizing. We are here to naturalize. That is the heart of the mother of the earth, to bring us into union and to not keep missing it. Here, this man is looking up to the cup, up to a form of God or oneness or self, whatever you choose to say. And here she's looking down into the earth. So they're missing each other. Even their fish are going opposite ways. But let me tell you, if you do artwork, there's a great word for opposites. It's called compliments. You ever receive a compliment? Man, Mark Twain said a good compliment will last me a month. And think about what the damage that tearing others down does. So this compliment coming on in, these energies of friends, family, adopted family, family, work, whatever it is, it's bringing in that complementary energy, just like the water and the air and plasma, or Jupiter in Saturn. Jupiter is in Saturn. Y'all, I don't know, but when you look up in the night sky, is Jupiter in Capricorn? I'm thinking it might be. Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, by the way. But anyways, let's get in. Big Papa, master of time and space's glorious self, is wanting to talk. All right. He says get a rune on it. So we're going to start with the rune. I put my runes into cards because I have this nifty glass table. So Big Pop, okay, thank you. Electric connection is key. All right. Thank you. So the trick about this, I actually found a stick that looked just like that the other day. But if you've been here for a minute, you could remember my red curly hair and knowing that I disappeared and I went through cancer, radiation, chemo, Radiation is electricity flying through me. So we have electrical energy and we have chemical energy. And they talk about the electric mind. That has a lot to do with telepathy. It has to do with that knowingness. That's why there's a card here that talks about knowing without knowing and coming together. She loves. So this is having to do with that state of the mind over here. Y'all just disregard me. Look at the Kais. This state of the mind going over here. The unionizing. Well, that would be at the focal point where they come together back here. Same way we see in front of us, we create a focal point. And if you drew that out, that would make a diamond, right? Like here are the eyes. Here's what we're looking at outside of us. Here's what we're looking at in the back of our mind, okay? They're talking about allowing it to be free and clear. That's why they're clearing away these lenses so that you tune into who you are. What does your spirit say? What does your soul say? Not what does the latest Google say on this. Nothing against that. Because again, Big Papa's here for confirmation, okay, and resonance, which takes a coming and a going, plus the time to rest and reflect. So Big Papa, this electrical connection, I feel you. Can you talk to us about this electrical connection and maybe its source, resource? We already know it's ourself, but this electrical connection with ourself then. Okay, so they're talking about he has a bunch of junk and in junk right now, but junk is what you don't know what to do with. Okay, so we're going to look at what we do know. First thing we know is the Wheel of Fortune. Thank you, Big Papa, because that's our connection to the world here. It's how we begin to stop the mess when we close our mind, our eyes, and we get in tune. That tuning actually cranks our ship just like we crank our car, and it gets the components moving in the proper direction. There is this synergistic effect that goes on that is like this. Watch my hands, y'all. I just notice I'm blending into the couch, maybe for the demonstrative purpose. So this is how the energy goes, and it circulates in cycles. They call it cyculate. So it cycles and circulates, but it creates, as those gears begin to turn, just like a player piano, it's moving this whole universe that begins to strike up the band and make the soul song emanate forward. As it emanates forward, oh, I love it. It emanates and swirls forward like this energy here and brings life to you. So when you're thinking, how's this going to happen for me? How's it, whatever, it's magic. But it's not. It's electrical energy. It's chemical energy. Is this alternating current effect going on, Big Papa is saying. So let's see what comes with the Wheel of Fortune. I love it. This deck is the Mary L. That's funny that he picked it because it's two Ouroboros linking together. And together we're better. So here it's the Four of Discs. Now, in this is not withholding. It is in a sense, and that you can't do better till you know better. And the doing isn't just our action, it's our amming, right? It's when that awareness opens to us, the lens, the scope, the eye opens more, we have a greater knowing without knowing. That's why it's the unknown. They don't want predictive or rote. That would be a robot. That would be dull and boring, and we would have all just been like, I'm done. Whatever that is, I am done. It is this creative force, this eminent power. And they mean emanating, E-M. Imminent, not I-M-M. It's coming forth from here. It's coming forth from here. And they're talking about when the hands come together, the heart of the hands. Now, they've said that several times, and this is not any religious stick. This has to do with you and you, life, love, joy. So they talk about the power that's in our hands, that when they come together, what they're talking about is something that it creates this circuit force on your heart, life force, where the heavens and the earth meet. And that's that little window of Scorpio. Strangely enough, Scorpio in the sky, the sun only moves through it for about a week, about 7 days. So it's actually the shortest sign. Now it's looped in with Ophiuchus, which is actually Chiron, our great teacher, which some would think is our wound, but it's our great teacher and also our lover. So they're wanting us to step into the knowledge of him being our lover. And that's what this story is going on over here. That we might have been discarding, y'all, because if we don't know what something is, what it's about, or what it's for, it doesn't have meaning or placement in our life, it's just going to keep playing out. And that's when we're giving energy forces around us the authority and permission to just throw whatever our way and we'll adapt and adjust. Well, when we get in the center of ourselves, we become the constant in the experiment. We become the divine I, the divine oneness and knowing. And we can begin to gain understanding and rhythm with life and time and space and the energies that are in our charts. That is your chart. That's why you're the whole zodiac. It takes all of it to show you who you are and the components that are in it. It's like a recipe. What a recipe for love. So this is funny. It's sitting over there and it's like points of consideration that we need to take into account with this ship, with this love, this relationship. How do we go 2 ways? So that's like a 2-way current. That's how it begins to spin like a helicopter. Okay, so points of consideration, the emperor, the devil, and the lovers. Well, that would make sense because the emperor has to do with the order. And they're talking about the disguise on the order. And that's funny because we had all these lenses, all these perspectives that were coming in through the last earth and eras. Lots of karma, y'all. Like knick-knack, patty-whack, double whammy karma going on. And so it had proof, it had backup, it had evidence. And not because we were fighting for it, we didn't know any different. It's almost like we've been going through a tube or a tunnel, which if you look up the word Taurus, spelled T-O-R-U-S, that's actually what it is. And so it does it coming and going, and we can get trapped in that effect until we begin to realize it is a spiral and an undulation to take us up through the realms and the worlds, take our energy moving through, that we are this electrical conductor, that we are working and embodying lightning and plasma. We're like a transfer of heaven and earth all in one space, but not to be a tube, to begin to express and emanate all around us. So that's what the emperor is doing here. It's about that metamorphosis, about the creative mind, about dreaming possibilities. And they're like, so anyways, they were whispering the other day, because like I've been reading a lot, but just not posting. They're telling me a lot about the problem is actually the solution. And that's the lens so many of us have carried is self-help. Self-help, I'm the problem. How do I fix me? How do I make the world better? How do I fix men, fix. And then we start birthing in that kind of comedy, tragedy, energy is what they're talking about. And they're like, no more. When we look through that and past that, then we begin to see we have our focus set on a different point. Then we're going to have a different refraction, a different reflection, a different relaxation, and a different refreshment. Let's just mull on that for a second. Because mind you, I'm going to sit on the other side and listen back too. Okay, now with that, this is the divine devil. It's coming from the Mary L or the Mary God deck. And it's one where it all None of it is a mistake. It's all happening in your favor. When we begin to understand our favor, which comes from Jupiter and also from part of fortune. And now Saturn isn't against us, but Saturn is the one that tethers it. It's like the one that attaches the energy that attaches the basket to the balloon so you can take the hot air balloon ride, right? Is the connection, if you love to ride horses, of the permission of the horse and the trust of the rider, the trust and the trust that affords that luxury. What luxury? This Four of Discs. This whole magnificent world is yours. Nothing in doing separates you from it. There is, let me count the points on the star here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 points. Okay, octile. Jupiter's coming in a prismatic octile. The parts of 8 coming together, and it's, we'll just call it 4 couples is really what's happening. And each couple is a peak, very much like what the mother had here. And that's that peak, that union. That's why they're talking about the hands or the hands. What is it about the hands and the heart? I know they're connected through the same chamber, but I have to ask just like y'all so that they can begin to speak more on that we're curious about. But this is foundational truth. This is Akashic Records. This is you connecting to your most ancient self, affording yourself the full scope, full spectrum and wisdom and resource that has been gathered, not earned, gathered, experienced, witnessed, awareness, appreciation, distaste, whatever. That's when I talk about your preferences and proclivities. They didn't just show up in this lifetime. You've been being cultivated for quite some time. And who is cultivating you? You. This is your divine self. Look at this. We have the gold string that comes from heaven, and we have the red rope of faith. The two come together, and it lightens up to make green. It brings forth the life, the heart chakra, this Four of Discs. They're talking about opening the lens of the heart. All right, we're putting these front and center then. Let's take a look at this lens. Let's take a look at the lens of the heart and what we've been seeing and knowing about love. Well, I love it. They are inverted, which means they're bringing in a message. They're bringing in a revelation, okay? Let's see. Now, this is magnanimous. This 10 of Wands is a card of victory. It's like if you took the 6 of Wands, the victory card, you put the 4 of Wands with it, of celebrating the victory, and then you light it up with the sun and with Chiron's blessing and Jupiter and doves and all that. So, woo, that is this card. Now it's inverted. So I'll give you just a second, y'all. Go gadget arms. Boop, 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 boop. Look at that. Look at the victory. Look at this nobleness of your heart. So that takes absolution. That's the wiping of the slate, the cleaning of the slate, the forgiving of oneself, removing all these lenses, knowing that there is nothing wrong with you. You are plenty. Enough with enough. You are plenty. You're perfect. You're divine. You're beautiful. Get into the center of that knowingness, and together the hands are coming here along with the horse. It's got divine chariot energy because when you connect to your full self, become whole-minded, all right, whole-brained, that we realize that is us, that is leading and guiding us, that there's no trickery or test going on, that we're not putting booby traps out for ourselves. How does that shift things for you? How does that start to feel along here? If you realize when something's in your head, it's like, it may take some language alteration. Like if you hear, you got to get up and da-da-da-da-da. You know, well, what if you realize what you were going to is something that you love? Then you could be like, well, then I need to harmonize. I want to harmonize those energies. So you'll be like, ooh, goody. We get to da-da-da today. Why don't we hop on up and get ready and see how it's a more supportive energy? This is what is going to unearth us from the depths of that watery grave. Not because we did anything bad or wrong. A lot of times it was clandestine. We're hiding away the parts that are most innate and inherent to us because we've been so normalized. And forget norms and structures and all that doing it. Let's just talk about the genesis of life and how it occurs. So now we're waking up, these lenses are peeling off, the layers are coming out, and you come into the knowingness of oneself, the wholeness, and you realize there is no fight, no struggle. That's the balance of Uranus. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, okay, well, then my life is going to be involving things that really nurture, nourish, and fulfill me, that I get immense meaning and satisfaction from. Not because I'm changing this life or that life or whatever, but it feels like it's your own hand playing the piano. It feels like it's your own mind making those decisions, your own heart experiencing the genuine curiosity and connection in each one of those events or streams with which you operate and experience, okay? Well, that's what they're talking about, is that experience. So thank you, Ten of Wands, for speaking to us about that. That's the pure goldness self. It has to do with our central channel. Now, we can live in circulation and blood and chi and those type of things. That is fantastic. But there's also this otherworldliness, like the quick elevator. You know, loving an elevator, living it up when I'm going down. All right. So with that, oh, they're coming in, the partners. We got the sun, the moon coming in. So if they're coming in like this, then that's gonna, okay, it'll stay just like that, except to y'all. There we go. This is how they're looking to you guys. Now look, they're speaking to each other. Let me lean forward and give you a good one on this. See the face there and the face there? They're blowing their breath and speaking to each other. This one is more demonstrative. It's like that, the goldness. It's like being able to see. You're like, oh, oh, oh. And that's why we also need the reflection time that they're talking about, because things come to us and it's made plain and made quick, and we know it's being made available to us. Then this reflection time of the moon, see, the breath is moving down. That's when we're able to speak to our heart about what relates to us, what we choose to take into our mouth to make one with ourselves and to pass and move through our body, our body, our ship, our vessel. All right, so they're wanting to pause on that a little bit more. Okay. I gotta get a different deck. Oh, I see you. Oh, we gotta jump on some affirmators. It's always fun when they come to play. Look at that. They're coming to slice and dice to break this down for you, fella. Oh, somebody's old school up in here, channeling some good old music. What you talking about? Okay. So here, this is when they talk about like that old mindset of like, is everything cursed? I gotta get things right. Well, that's Hierophant energy. That's that old earth energy moving on out, just like Taurus is no longer going to be the sitting bull of like resistance. It's going to be frolicking like a calf. Like, I get to what? I'm my parent. I'm my authority and permission. Life's not holding out on me or holding things away from me. I get to participate, contribute, and enjoy with myself, and to trust my guidance in my own voice in myself. So 4 of discs and the 4 of pentacles coming together. It's that idea of feeling like you have to hoard because it's earthly limitedness. Here they're letting us know the whole earth is your oyster. You can have anything and everything you desire. See, it already has a system of checks and balances because it's not what we want. Now in sign language, this is to memorize, like, and this is to take in. So our mind is, oh, I see that, I see that, I see that. And especially in this modern era where everything is at our fingertips, we could dream so freely and so easily. But they want you to take that time to reflect, to personalize it, to really feel it and see it and experience in your mind's eye, in your imagination, in your heart, what that feels and looks like to you, so that you get a more specific response. You begin to fine tune yourself and hone yourself and know who you are. Now, these are not limitations. Mind you, you're an instrument. So imagine that you were a stringed instrument and you're fine tuning. The more you play, the more you tune. It. Sometimes we're taught the more we play, the more we miss out on this world. And that's that old 4 of Pentacles. And they're like, he's like, whoa. If you saw it, you'd see what I mean. He's like, whoa. We're transforming that right now. We're transforming that old energy into this new devil, okay? Which is a life well lived, knowing and trusting yourself to guide you forward, just like your GPS. You have the forward, but then you have to have the map of where you're out. Don't let it become your undoing. It's very systematic. When we begin to know ourselves, then you know that if what a yes feels like to you and what a no feels like to you, okay? And then you don't have to justify or explain it to yourself. Because if you're justifying and explaining it to yourself, you're going to feel like you have to justify and explain yourself to others, and then you get out of center. remember, all this is swirling and moving forward. You are not going to miss out on anything that your heart delights in and desires. Wanting is that taking in a bunch of options on the mind. The solarness, you can see many, many things. But when we take a moment, an hour, a day, and wow, sometimes a week, the difference of what has happened as it processes and moves around us, the Shakti begins to fill our earthen vessel and our organs and our perspective and our flavors and colors. We begin to know, that's how it tastes to me. This is what it feels like to me. This is what it sounds like to me. And then you know if it's something that you bring in or you release it back out. I live near the beach. I go to get beautiful shells often, or sticks or feathers or whatever. Sometimes wondering if they're going to have me make something. Other times they just energize my space. And then one day I look and I'm like, oh, time for you to go back home. And I take them back and put them back in the water where I found them, or on the shore. And then people come along like, oh, I found treasures. And I'm like, yes, you did. Right? So the moon gives us that time to reflect, digest, and process, to go from this to this, okay? So where we have been is not wrong. What you have been and have experienced, that's why it's not being. It's amming. You already are. You're plenty. You're a beautiful man or woman. Beauty is being the same on the inside as the outside. Shall I introduce the word integrity? Right? Now, with this age of Taurus going on for 18 months, the nodes shifting, which are our propeller or our Ouroboros, they're wanting us to already know and to enjoy that beauty, to enjoy the flavor of who we are, the integrity, to move into the intimacy, so that the roots, what has been going on down beneath the surface, can begin to rise up as a tree of life, as the lightning path, as the illumination into the beauty way, the divine order, the magic of the Saturn and the Jupiter, okay? And what that really means is the unseen, the seen and the unseen realm. How do they apply to each other? Like sometimes in school, I remember a kid would say, well, how's this apply to what we're going to have to do in life? And they're like, if you want money, you got to learn to count. And they're like, okay, so we may not totally know until we're in that knowing. It's like catching up with yourself, like to stay on the horse, you have to move with the way the horse does. The horse is going like this, but our body has to go like this. We're going under, while the horse is going like that and propelling that way. They're complementary energies, and it makes for a smooth ride and a delightful delivery. Heart of the moment. Boom. Okay, so let's see what that revelation is. Ooh, down here. Affirmators, waiting. We still got you waiting right there. That's for the end. Page of Pentacles, laying down. You are not lazy and laying down on the job. Take that time to reflect and watch how you begin to build momentum. That it has to be this cosmic understanding that the moment of the taking in and the aha is going to become shorter and shorter and shorter. And not because it actually shortens, but because your speed of your engine, of your revolution begins to move so quickly, because you're like resonant of like, yeah, I get the, okay, I trust, boom. And then that central channel lights up. I mean, if you watch Star Trek, they get in the little tube, and that's how we beam me up. Okay? So lightning is an energy force that mostly travels from the ground up into the sky. There is some lightning that travels from the sky downward, but most of it comes from the ground up. Now here, we've got something hidden, so let's find out what he's doing here. Oh, it's that to-do list of the warthog, of feeling like we're a champion or something because we accomplish things. Making a list, and they want you to know it's not just about what you do, it's about the who. Meaning it's not just about your purpose. When they say humility is knowing who we are and what we're here for, they're talking about the meaning. Because if I'm like, why am I doing this job? It's like, because I love connecting with people and seeing them come into their goldenest self, because that makes my world a better place when you are who you exactly, plenty, perfectly are. That gets me excited. And they're using the word I ain't gonna use because it's just right. Anyways, it gets me excited. So they're talking about that knowing who you are and what you're here for, everything that you do. What am I here for? What am I doing here? It could be, well, I take a bath because it makes me feel better. So that moment of this new dialogue, of that shifting from I want the gold of the earth and these things to, I am the gold of the earth. I get to inhabit the whole earth. Meaning there's nothing removed from you. And Big Daddy, Big Papa, the Time Master, when we begin to move through that central channel of energy of aiming, things just have a way of shortening. They begin to move like that. You imagine to kids how playtime is so abbreviated, right? Their mind is like, yeah, and all over the place, very organic, and getting all the way out there in that space, the Jupiterian. But then if they had to sit in class all day, boom, it feels like Saturn. And they're talking about us switching those lenses of being able to get to turn the wheel, which the way we turn the wheel is a balance of work and play, or should I say, intake, input, processing, exhale, and releasing. So again, it goes back to that, the sun and the moon. Seeing what all is available to you and deciding what has meaning for you right now. Because the moon is a moment by moment, day by day keeping of a calendar. Because if I plant my watermelon seeds in December outside, I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose my past, my present, and my future. Past, the seed; present, the planting it; and the future is that I all the seeds die, the plants don't make it, so they don't make new seeds for me. So in ignorance, we toss everything out. And that's why they're being so generous to come in to let us know it's not just about money, y'all. Tactile things. They're talking about you are the gold. Touch yourself. James Brown, right? Huh. Good God. Touch yourself. Get in touch with yourself, than knowing without knowing. And as you begin to experience yourself more and more, it'll be hand in glove. Okay? It's going to ping or bing or swing or any of those sounds that happen. Mine bings right here. Bing. And I've been following it for, I don't know, 40 something years now. And I'm like, oh. And then you begin to open your lens, and it's that Jupiter Saturn marital state. Okay, so we're going to begin to, this is a big bite, y'all. So we're going to begin to land the plane and to bring this in. That brings in the Eight of Cups and the Two of Swords. They're talking about the divine 10 of knowing your mind. Knowing your mind. Not weighing the battles, not thinking, oh, is this going to harm you or is this going to help me? This is very organic and natural. The way we came in, not normal, natural. So begin to find what's natural for you. What do you do without almost even knowing it? And you could call it a bad habit or a bad or whatever. Forget, drop the condition and begin to know, what is it that leads me to do that? What is it that is fulfilling in this exchange? It could be lounging on the couch as soon as you get home, or some women removing your bra, or some guys, working out in the garage, whatever, in the kitchen, whatever your thing is. What is it in this thing, this exchange, that brings meaning to me? How does this feel? And it doesn't have to be this big specific question. You'll begin to find you just check in. You don't even have to ask it. You just, And then you start to know yourself so well. The sun and the moon, okay? And you are the star of your show. They talk about that divine love. Okay, cooperation is essential for life. And so that's what was really going on here. It's like over my dead body. Hell or high water. There was some of that energy left behind from this past. No one's making you. No one is forcing you. They're just offering you the opportunity to know that you're plenty, to know that you're amazing, to know that your desires are worthy. Desires and delights come from down inside here. They're the thing that we mull over, that we put away secretly, thinking it's secret desire. It's not something that's, maybe it's too flighty or too fit of fancy, that type of thing. They're saying, just don't judge it. Start to do this vibrating with yourself, this resting and reflecting, the taking in, the work, the play, which is the reflection, and allow it to come full circle. Allow your genie, and they're saying gene because you got a few of them. I know that would be genie, y'all, but they're saying gene eye. They're talking about many's. Okay, so when you come in the one lens, it's like a diamond. The diamond eye. You are a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond, baby. Shine bright like a diamond. So these are the belief cards. Y'all bring this together for us and help seal this with a kiss. This has been a moment. Seal it with a breath and a kiss. Okay, we got 2 coming in, so let's go ahead and do that breath. If you want to, breathe on in with me. All the way up and exhale out of your mouth. Breathing on in again, relaxing around your ears and your temples. Breathing all the way up, softening your face in through the nose. And then out. I'm so glad you're here. This was a fun little ride, y'all, when I still had the red hair. My sons, which are now grown, when they used to always say, Mama, it's like a magic school bus ride. So I hope you had fun. I hope you realize this is about being delightful, about enjoying this earth. This is not scary or serious or, life or death. I've been there and I've moved through to the other side. That's why they gave me all this, right? And moving through the other side of like easy peasy. Get in the center of yourself, enjoy, ease, relax, because if there starts to be ease, that's to let you know that you're out of the center. So they gave two kisses. First one is, my social circle is influencing my life in a positive way. Would you like to say that with me? My social circle is influencing my life in a positive way. That, my friend, is like that mouth and the mind being whole. When we begin to speak and expressing it, you are giving yourself permission. It's not like this name it and claim it. You're giving energy and the environment around you permission to become this, to be this, because that's what you're choosing to am. Oh, I certainly hope, y'all, this isn't covering the screen. Anyways, so in a positive way. And that means that gives yourself permission to say no to things that aren't for you. Remember? Stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. Yikes, Albert Einstein. So there's been a time of separation, a time of silence. What? From the external, not from the internal. Checking out to check in. All right. So it is a check. It has taken those moments, the private times, the bath time, the chilling to some music, to going to the gym, to rocking in the chair, maybe to sitting in your car by yourself away from the office, whatever it is giving yourself that moment. Because sometimes when you're in a good state, do you notice people around you might be having problems, and because you seem so calm and collected, they come. So it's that sometimes when we reach that calm state, it will draw things for you to help others work on. All right. And that's not how it's supposed to continue, because everybody, for a moment, they've really been speaking on the nourishment of being able to find ourselves within ourselves. So a little bit of withdrawing is affording everybody that beautiful opportunity. And just because it's good for you does not mean it's bad for another. That's what this victory card is about. Is what is good for you, nurturing and nourishing for you. What is ease for you is wellness for the whole world. Because you give yourself permission, you're giving self permission to the whole world too, okay? So here's the other one. How's it look? A fascinating owl on there. I love that. It's carrying a hospitality vibe, okay? Let me see how that ties in here. I am becoming more knowledgeable and wiser with each day. If you'd like to say that with me, you're welcome to. I am becoming more knowledgeable and wiser with each day. That's referring back to this knowing without knowing card that we have here. Is that over time of the wheel spinning, right? The work and play, the rest and reflect, the going out and the coming in, it begins to make sense to you, and you don't have to do the feedback loop. You start amming, all right? The expert at anything was once a beginner. It's really hinting to the fact that we all have something to share, something meaningful, beautiful, perfect, and plenty about who you are. They keep showing me my mug over here, the honeybee. The honey takes the flower, and it needing to get the pollen the flower gets pollinated, which then creates the fruit or the seed. Seed is a fruit as well, y'all. It creates that whole system of dynamic. So in that interaction, they don't have to live on each other. It's not that codependence. We don't need to be in each other's chart. We need to be in ourself. And then we're able to move and navigate together. How? Through agreement. Because when there's nothing to struggle or fight over, things become so much clearer. And that's what they're talking about here, is taking that into its natural state, into that clarity, so that we begin to have a genuine experience with ourselves, and we do become more knowledgeable each day. That means we each have something to share. We're valuable. We're here to contribute our color to this world. And that's what makes me excited, because I love color. Can you see all around me? Maybe at some point I'll start to share some more artwork, which is always quite colorful. But for now, thank you for stopping by. I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad you're here. Not just here, but here in your body. It has been trials and tribulation in quite a long time. But I hope this is the wake-up call that you needed to know that who you are is plenty, perfect, divine right now. Getting in the center of yourself makes me happy, and you too. I love you. Check out any of the videos and stop back by real soon. Bye.